This is the Snarketing Podcast, for marketers, by marketers, talking to marketers with just a touch of snark. Now, here are your hosts, Valerie Vespa and Matt Wurst.
We are back. Yes, we are back for Season 3 of the Snarketing Podcast. I am Matt Wurst.
And I am Valerie Vespa.
We are still here. You know, Valerie, I got to be honest. We planned for an off season of planning and strategy. We literally only had 1 month off. And I don't know about you, but January, it may have felt like a year this January.
I was just saying that.
But from CES to NRF to you were in New Orleans to
Yes.
did it feel like
Fires.
We had, any break? No.
No, it's just been, this has been the oddest month. But I'm glad it's over.
Well, it is over. We are back. We have an incredible lineup of episodes and guests planned for our listeners.
I love
we
how
might
this
actually
season-
do a little bit of planning as well, like actually put some thought behind this for a change, maybe make it thoughtful. But we are back a little bit earlier than we thought because our guest, who I am excited to introduce and talk to, has told us that she has breaking news for us.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know about you. I don't know what that means.
Isn't this been a goal of yours? I feel like you mentioned this in our earlier days.
I've secretly always wanted to be a journalist, but I don't have the skills or tools to do so. So let's see what she has to share. I don't know. What do we do? What do we do with this news?
No,
we have to figure this out.
We just have to bring her on.
Yes. Okay. So we are going to start season 3 in 3, 2,
1.
No, you don't say 1. You just point. Remember, that's how it works in entertainment. All right, let's try that again. In 3, 2.
Welcome back. Season 3 is going to be a blast. And we're kicking it off with a bang. Jeanniey Walden is a luminary in the marketing world. She's not only the chief marketing officer of Rite Aid and Thrifty ice cream, but she's also the host of her own TV show, where she talks with leaders, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and other influential people making their mark in the world. And now she talks with us, and she's got some big news to drop. Take it away, guys.
Jeanniey, welcome to the Snarketing Podcast. We are honored that you are kicking off season 3 with us.
Woohoo!
Yes.
I'm
That is
slightly
the energy that we
concerned.
love. So we are going to come out of our 1-month hiatus, but as much as we chose you to jumpstart season 3, you have some news to share. You chose us as well. So Valerie and I will admit, have never to date broken news on our podcast. It's not what we do. But as we like to do with our Snarketing audience, keeping them on their toes, you have some news to share with us today that we don't even know what it is.
Yes. Well, first, thank you both so much for having me on this podcast. I mean, look, I met Valerie and I fell in love with her, but months ago.
Love you. I love you too.
And then I go to CES and Matt, we're connected 100 different ways until Sunday, proving that the world is a much smaller place than anyone ever imagined. And a big lesson to all your listeners, never burn a bridge. Not that I ever did, but if I would have, I wouldn't be here on this podcast today sharing my news. So, you know, it's bittersweet news, but I think this podcast will be the first time that I'll be sharing the news that I've left Rite Aid and Thrifty and I've decided to move on. So,
Wow.
Well,
Oh my
you will have left your mark without question. It is a turnaround story, which now I will say former CMO. Oh my Lord. Oh, we got to change some of our thought process here, but so wow, as former, this is official, right? This is okay. So as
it's official. It's official.
Former CMO of Rite Aid. Now, you joined and there was a period of bankruptcy, which is not easy to navigate. And many people don't have the skills to actually bring a company through to the other side. What did you learn from this experience now that you are leaving the company in a much better place than you found it?
Well, first and foremost, I am so thrilled to be able to leave the company in such a strong place. And it might be slightly in part due to things that I've implemented over the years while I was there, but it is in huge part to, it's a testament of the hard work that everybody at every single Rite Aid store and every Thrifty ice cream outlet has done to just build a sense of community and a sense of trust and create a set of customers that really have this bond that can't be broken. So, I helped it along, but it's the hard workers on the front lines every single day and the incredible killer amazing marketing team that I'm leaving, and feel very, very confident that they're just going to be doing a great job as I go. It's all as a result of their efforts. But I have to say, coming into this opportunity, I'm always drawn to turnarounds and high growth opportunities. So I run towards the chaos. It's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I thrive at. But it was a little daunting, being told, hey, the company's either going to survive based on, in part, your brand strategy and how you pull it all together and keep that sense of trust with the customer, or it's not going to survive and it'll liquidate. And you get to be the CMO that was there when a retail pharmacy, the third largest one, liquidates. And nobody wanted that, obviously. And thankfully, that's not anywhere close to the case. But it was an 11-month retail pharmacy bankruptcy, which is unheard of in the court system, for the company to come out much stronger on the other side. And I learned so much about resiliency of customers, so much about communities stepping up and supporting each other, so much from a marketing perspective about how marketing is not just the message you put outside, but it's also about the message you put inside your company. And we did so many cool things during my tenure there, including making the stars of our TV commercial actual employees in many cases versus hired actors, to show authenticity. Because I've got this thing that I've had for 1,000 years, because that's how old I am, called AIR. It's the way that I do everything in life. It's got to be authentic, it's got to be inspirational, and it's got to be relatable. So it stands for AIR. And I infuse that in everything that I do. And I'm a big believer that any kind of media needs to be authentic. What better way to do that than to actually put employees in the commercials?
Well, that sounds like a breath of fresh air. I will tell you just personally that the Rite Aid pharmacist in my town, who I know and love and probably spend more time with her than anyone in my family, Porva, she is a celebrity in our town. So that authenticity is real.
Yeah.
But it's the brilliant prescription, no pun intended, actually, for that type of timely marketing. So kudos to you.
When we first met last year, you had talked specifically, the two things that really seemed to excite you about Rite Aid was the fact that it was so people centric. Like the employees there really knew and were part of the community, like Matt alluded to. And then there was a second thing, which was the ice cream brand that you lit up talking about. And I had no idea, I think maybe because of geography wise, it
Yes.
wasn't in
Yeah.
the Northeast. So can you, I mean, I know these are two totally separate things, but maybe let's start with the ice cream first, because I do love ice cream. So,
Yeah.
By the way, I am the
So
demographic. I am the demographic, and I've eaten the ice cream. Maybe that's why, Valerie. It doesn't matter geography. I am an ice cream consumer. So,
well, I'll start with Thrifty. So Thrifty ice cream is a brand that is almost 100 years old on its own.
amazing.
Almost 100 years ago in 1926, a pharmacy opened up in California called Thrifty Pharmacy. And back then, the deal was everybody had some counter, because pharmacies are very local, and that's how you get the local communities to come to your pharmacy. Ice cream counters, soda counters. You remember the stories about Woolworth and Walgreens, everything else. So Thrifty Pharmacy decided on their own to just manufacture their own ice cream. The freshest California dairy, most amazing ice cream on the planet. I will still say that's a testament to the day. In the 90s, Rite Aid they acquired Thrifty Pharmacies, and along with it, they acquired the ice cream plant. Now, on the Rite Aid side of the house, right, I'm preparing for this financially challenged company, and I need to do something with a brand that's going to create a brand that's strong enough to get them through a bankruptcy that we didn't know if it was going to last 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, but it needed to be flexible enough that as the changes happen at Rite Aid financially and potentially, political changes, economic changes, that the brand could flex and lean into whatever the current messaging needed to be. And so when I looked into differentiators, what I found was at Rite Aid, because of so many acquisitions over the years, a lot of the pharmacists and a lot of the front end employees have just stayed with the company to support their communities for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, you walk into a Rite Aid store, and if you're as old as I am and you remember the show Cheers, and everyone's like, hey, that's what happens when you walk into a Rite Aid. They know who you are. And they in many cases grew up with you. There was a Thrifty drugstore, which then turned into Eckerd in Pittsburgh, which then became a Rite Aid. And the woman at the front counter was Jean. I met her when I was 6 years old, would run in for my mom. She knew me my entire way through grade school, high school, college, when I got married and had a baby. Like, she knew everything about me. I'd
Wow.
walk into the store and it would be so great to see her. And she was like the relative that I never had. And I knew the second that I saw that happening in all of the Rite Aids, that was what we needed to do. We needed to lean into the employees who support the communities, because the employees are the community. And, Matt, you said it, your pharmacist is a rock star in the community. Everyone that works at a Rite Aid or any other retailer are still a part of the communities. And that was really special. And it was really just an ask of the community. Hey, bear with us as we go through these financial challenges. We got you. We're here for your health. Stick with us and let's get through this together. And that's where the brand strategy of It Means More came to play, because it means more for the customers. It means more for the employees that we all were able to get through it together.
Well, community is certainly, that's what I've grown up doing professionally, and it resonates. You are both a physical and a metaphorical embodiment of that. But you're leaving. Before we move on,
I've
literally
left.
and figuratively.
Yes,
I know.
I've
So I got to get this. Still processing. But you are leaving as an award winner. But the recognition for that is really around like loyalty and creating that relationship. Are there specific tactics or strategies that you guys identified and put in place and can point to and say, like, that's why?
Look, it's gonna sound really old and antiquated when I say this. I wish I could tell you that it was these 7 different AI systems that were put together and automatically nudged me and dynamically gave me offers. But really, it's understanding who your customers are, matching it with what their needs are, and then communicating them with them as transparently as possible. And I'm going to bring it back to air. Like, everything we did had to be authentic. We had to make some tough choices. And I've done this at other brands that I've worked with too. I've been using air as my system for success for many decades, across many different companies.
By the way, not to interrupt, but you can spin this for the next with AI. It's already in there.
Well, you know what? Authenticity is the only thing that's going to make AI successful. But we can talk about the whole
Very
AI.
Yeah, we'll get to this. I'm sure we'll get to this.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah. So it's really matching. We had to be transparent with customers about what was happening so that they understood, and we had a lot of competition, right? The minute that press went out that stores were closing or that we filed bankruptcy or any of the bankruptcy stories, the CVS's, the Walgreens, the Costco's, the Targets, they were super fast to get their billboards up that said Rite Aid customers welcome. And, it's just it's kind of challenging when you have to deal with all that and find a way to get the news to the people of what they need to know.
So let's shift a little bit to LiftOff with Jeanniey Walden.
Good, thank goodness.
You are, the fact that you were managing being a CMO and also having this show is pretty impressive, because you're the executive producer and host on it. So can you talk about sort of,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I do use AI for the show. So there you go.
Nice. Let's learn more about that. So
I use AI to listen to your show, by the way. So
Jeez.
It summarizes it for you.
Yeah.
How did this get started? How did you think of this idea? How did you end up placing it where you now have it streaming? All this good stuff. Let's hear more.
Okay. Well, for your listeners who don't know me, I might sound a little crazy. For people that do know me, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's just Jeannie." So I'm a big believer that if you are a good person, the world is good to you. I'm a huge believer in communities and networks, and if you fall and you're a good person, people are going to be there to catch you. So I'm also a huge risk taker. At the same time, I'm super strategic, calculated, data driven, and the risks are generally, while they might seem big, I've figured out plans A through double Z to make sure that they all come through the right way. But so I was the chief marketing and innovation officer for a fintech startup that is a unicorn company called Daily Pay in the earned wage access space. And I was approached by two producers, and they're like, "Wow, you're amazing when you're on camera. You know what the world needs right now. You can speak about business and lifestyle, and you do it so well. The world needs a TV show that's a business lifestyle show where you recognize that business has to happen and you can have a conversation with a CEO or an entrepreneur or a CMO, but at the same time you realize they're people too, and you can also, sit back and talk about like skincare or, what's the right food to make when you have 6 minutes because you've got 27 conference calls and you're already late for your kids and they hate you and you're trying to figure out how to use your PR training to parent them. There's so many things that have to do again with authenticity and relatability. Why don't you start your own TV show? And at that time, I was considering what I was going to do post Daily Pay because we'd gotten it to great status. We had grown it incredibly well. The market shifted. So, my time there was coming to an end. And I thought, go to a dinner and someone says, "What do you do?" And you say, "Oh, I'm in marketing." And they're like, "That's nice." Or you say, "Oh, I host a TV show." And they're like, "What?" So I decided that would be fun. So I left Daily Pay to start the TV show. And my intent was to do the TV show, keynote speak, and then do some fractional work or consulting and, build a business. I've had two agencies of my own in the past that I've sold. I started a million years ago, the Email Experience Council, that I sold to the Direct Marketing Association that's now owned by the ANA. So I've had a wearable tech company. I've had 5 businesses. So it's not unlike me to do something like this. So I did that. And about 6 months into it is when the Rite Aid opportunity came upon me. And they said I could still manage the show because back then I had a million people working on the show with me. I learned the hard way that buying TV, easy. Creating and running your own TV show from scratch, not so easy. It takes a lot of time. So I had a whole group of people that were nice enough to jump in and help me get that done. And I'm excited to say you're starting season 3. I just started season 4 of the show.
Wow, all right. Well,
Oh
we're
my God,
chasing
that's
you.
incredible.
We're learning
Yeah.
from you is what we're learning. So as now Valerie and I, and look, this is our side hustle, but we are looking and excited about always sharing and telling stories. How do you find those stories? How do you choose what stories to tell? Because it does cover a range of topics, as you said. So like,
Yes.
is this what you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about? Like, oh, I need to reach out to this person and elevate
Yes.
what they're saying.
Yes. I'm always thinking about all of those things. And when I meet somebody like Valerie at a dinner and within I don't know, Valerie, 33 seconds, we were like best friends. And it's really interesting because look, I've worked I've run divisions at Ogilvy and Gray. I've had 5 of my own businesses. I was a CMO at Barnes and Noble. At Mercer, I was the global CMO. At Daily Pay, I was the CMO. At Rite Aid, I was a CMO. At Zinio, I was a CMO. Like I've been a CMO forever. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. So really, I focus on the business side. What's going to be interesting to me? Like, what do I need to know? What do I wish that I need to know? So in an upcoming episode, I've got David McKillips, who's the CEO of Chuck E. Cheese, who just like is in the midst of an incredibly successful turnaround. And I'm so proud of him. And then I've got Gary Vaynerchuk, that everybody loves Gary V, and everybody wants to know what's going on because, I want people to understand the challenges of turnaround on the David side. And on Gary's side, I want to know like what makes him tick because from my business profile, I want to be able to take advantage and learn from those pieces. But on the other side of the show, I've got an entrepreneur who's talking about a wearable tech safety jewelry line that she started, following her journey of how do you start up as an entrepreneur, how do you raise money. And then I've got a chef who's talking about literally how do you make food that's fast but also healthy for the times when you're traveling, your kids, you don't have time to cook, whatever it is. And then I've got, our glam squad woman who created her own skincare line is talking about how you de-stress so that you can age gracefully in business and not look like all the stress that you have to deal with every day takes a toll on you. All of those come out of me going, oh my God, I wish somebody would have told me how to do this. Like a couple episodes or a couple of seasons ago, I had carousel foot cream on. And I know that sounds so silly and weird, but if you're a female in business and you're wearing heels when we were all in the offices or walking through New York City, your feet hurt, man. Like, come on. Like, no, someone needs to tell you what to do to take care of your feet. And just because you're a CEO or a CMO doesn't mean that your feet don't hurt at the end of the night. And wouldn't it be nice if someone told you that? Like, that would be helpful.
Totally. I love it.
I can't argue with that for many reasons.
Now, I also have celebrities on too. So I've had Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. I did not like him in perception, and then he came on the show, and I'm like probably one of his biggest fangirls now because he is the nicest man, and he's also so focused on helping entrepreneurs succeed. Like I'm the biggest fan of his. I've had Ed Begley Jr. on, I've had Jay Leno on.
Wow.
My favorite, I had Taylor Dane on. She sings. I love Taylor
Amazing.
Dane.
Oh my God, I love
But
Taylor Dane.
Nadine Macaluso is probably one of my favorite celebrities. If you don't know who she is the actual wife of the Wolf of Wall Street. So
Yes,
everybody,
that's how I know her.
right? So you watch the Wolf of Wall Street, you see Michelle Roby, and she's so amazing and there with Leo DiCaprio, but she's the real Michelle Roby, and she survived the marriage, and she has gone and gotten her PhD, and she does incredible things to help women
sure she has
break
stories.
trauma
Wow.
bonds.
Trauma bonds.
She's got the
right.
best Instagram on the planet because, and this is just because I just love this movie too, but because she shows a clip of the movie every Thursday. I don't know if she's still doing it, but every Thursday, and she's like myth or fiction. And you have to guess, like, she shows like that her in the movie, the aunt meets the husband on a park bench in Central Park, and they kiss each other, and she's like, did that really happen? No, that did not happen. But then she shows like them all doing drugs on a boat that almost capsized, they almost die. She's like, that happened. But it's great. Like she is such a phenomenal human being and a spirit. And those are the types of guests that I love that just like get you as the person watching the show super excited to do something amazing with your life.
I mean, it's phenomenal, but I think my key takeaway from this is we need to meet your booking agent.
That'd be me.
Then we just perfect. So
I can get you this woman. Her name alliterates. It's Valerie Vespa, and she has the most killer story of why she did not change her name that is going to make any female executive stand up. And
You are hilarious.
Look, as Valerie's agent, can she be on your show?
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Okay.
You can both be on the show. How's that?
I need a good hair and makeup person before I go anywhere. So
I have the most amazing one.
even better. So you have these incredible stories. You've worked across all these incredible industries, from finance to retail to media. What's like, I don't know if you can name one thing because of all these experiences that you had, but is there like a standout story, a strange or surprising or weird thing that you've learned about consumers? Because I am fascinated by consumer behavior. So I would love to know what you have taken away or what you've learned or something that you're like, wait, people do this?
If I have to sum all of these many, many years of experience into one thing, I'm gonna go with air. Like, I don't know. I just keep coming back to that. Here's why. So my master's is in education. I did not get an MBA. I barely passed macroeconomics in college, but I wanted to be a teacher, and there were no teaching jobs when I graduated. I learned sign language because I wanted to work with autistic kids. When you learn sign language, back then, they would play the news in the morning, and sign language is all visual. You do time, topic, action, object. You have to translate the words as they're being spoken into images and create those images for people because you can't finger spell everything. It takes too long. So through that process, I just have this knack for taking thoughts and translating them into very simple images that you can communicate. But I can't find a job as a teacher. I get a job at JCPenney. I'm 23 years old. I've like really learned that being the manager of a call center in Pittsburgh is like being a teacher for old people, but you get paid a heck of a lot more than teachers did at the time. And I get promoted, and I have the job of being the leader of the bad debt collections department before the internet existed, with a team of underperforming women who have been doing bad debt collections on the JCPenney credit card for over 25 years. These women have been collecting bad debt on JCPenney credit cards longer than I had been alive. And they were underperforming, and they were like, go ahead, fix this. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about collections. I don't know anything about working with people that are like older than my parents. I don't know anything about credit card fraud. Like, I don't know anything about anything. And there, I got all these angry women who are just a couple years away from retirement looking at me like, why are you here? And I was just like, okay, if I was in like a crazy classroom, what would I say to the classroom to get them to trust me and give me a second and actually listen to what I have to say? And I was like, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here to listen. And I want to find out all your ideas. We're going to work through this together. And they turned into like all my family. I still keep in touch with some of them and their families today. We built the biggest bond, but it came from me being super transparent. I don't know, but here's the job we need to get done. Let's all work on it together. And that authenticity, and then sitting down and listening to them and being able to relate to them was super important. You know, I'm like, I'm from Pittsburgh too. Like, I grew up down the street from your sister, by the way. I think I know her. And I'm not this like scary leader, manager. I'm here to help you. And that's really proven my entire career through every business that I've been in. And then the teacher part gets me the like inspiration. So it all comes together like that.
I remember, like, as a dinner, you had to excuse yourself because you were dealing with an issue that a younger person on your team had like made an error, and you felt
Yes.
you felt her pain. You,
Oh, I felt her pain. I felt her pain.
uh,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes. I think for both of you would agree, and for all of the listeners would agree too. I mean, we've all made really stupid mistakes in our careers, things that felt like they were the world's worst mistake, and you feel alone. So it's really great to have somebody that's got your back and explains to you that the world's not going to end as a result of this mistake, and turns it into a learning experience, and gives you a little bit of grace. And, you
for
know, there was a
sure.
guest on my show, one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Sonia Richards Ross, who said that's how she lives life. And that stayed with me, is, you know, give people grace and understand that, you know, we're all here trying to do a good thing. So
So it's so true. It's so true. It wouldn't be a podcast without talking about AI, and that was another thing that we spoke about, that you were on like some sort of committee with maybe MediaLink or something like that. So tell
yeah.
us what you know, how you feel, what's up in the world of AI from your perspective.
Funny, it's funny that you bring it up today. I have varying thoughts about AI. So I'm going to give you a couple different thoughts, but I'm going to tell it with a story. So yesterday I'm in this AI seminar, and they show a picture of a man, and he's wearing a necklace, and they're like, "Here's what's going to happen with AI in the not too distant future. This man wearing his AI necklace is going to pick up his son. Then AI is going to know he was 30 minutes late, and marketing's never going to be the same again. It's going to send marketing offers to him to help make his life easier. It's going to suggest that he, you know, order this pizza and that it be there at the house because he's running late, so that he can still make his next meeting. And it's called nudge marketing, which is something that I love that phrase, nudge marketing, that's what AI is going to change. And it starts freaking me out. So I'm like, oh my God, this is going to happen. What's going to happen? Marketing as we know it is going to die. And we're going to be marketing to agents, and the world's going to end. And then I'm like, wait a second. In order for this scenario to actually come to life and work, the guy's got to wear the necklace. And having had a wearable tech company, getting the world to acquire wearable tech not such an easy thing to do. Secondly, he's got to have his entire calendar uploaded at all times and be up to date. Also, never going to happen in at least this household. Not going to happen is one pun. Things change all the time. And then thirdly, what are the right offers going to be and how's it going to change? And somebody wrote in the chat, because it was a virtual conference, well, if he's super stressed out because he's picking up his son late and his wife's yelling at him, is it going to suggest that he get a blood pressure medicine afterwards too? Like, what's it going to do? A mindfulness app is going to come downloading. And I'm like, this is really fascinating. And then somebody said, the goal of AI futurists right now is to scare us into thinking that the world's going to change to try and drive adoption. And I never thought about it that way. And that it's really going to be a supportive administrative change for more efficiency, which I 100% agree with. So, like I said, I use AI for the TV show. It is like my assistant. It helps me do research on clients. It helps me craft questions on clients. It helps me organize my scripts. It helps me do a lot of stuff that normally I would have to hire people to do. And quite frankly, in season 1 of the show, I did hire people to do. So it has been able to do a lot of that. But as far as building the relationships and understanding the connections and bringing that air into it, it's not there. Shelley Palmer says AI is never going to be worse than it is right now. I agree with that. So I am excited about seeing it move forward, but I do think from a marketing perspective, we're going to have a lot more say and the ability to manage it. And I do think from my time with a wearable tech company and Google Glass, remember when we were all going to be wearing Google Glass and that was going to be the end of it? I think we have some time to figure out how to harness its potential, even though it's growing at voluminous speed.
I think you're right that the steps that we need to take to get to the point that people are predicting are complex, but I am not sure that it won't happen, right? I do think there could be a world where the agentic AI that we are building now for efficiency and for quality and for speed will get advanced to the point where consumer adoption will then be like, to your point, like, how do they know to buy this thing? It's just going to buy it for them. So all of the AI will just be talking to each other, marketing and consumer, and we're just going to get to sit back and have fun conversations like this. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, yes, and we have the wild card of upcoming generations. Because if you look at the generational research, the X's, I'm Gen X. I love AI for efficiency. I'm, more a little cutting edge, and I'm trying to adopt it and learn how to SEO for agents and all that other stuff. My millennial children, they're okay with AI, but only if it gets them what they need. My Gen Z kids, they don't like it. They like certain pieces of it. They don't like all of it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. They don't like the inauthenticity. And it's not where it needs to be. There's we were talking before you hit record, we were talking about like funny stories. I wrote this LinkedIn post and I was talking about, here's some vendors that I've loved working with. And I'm like, my mind was blown when it sees it. So I asked LinkedIn to make me an image. I give it the article and I'm like, go ahead, and then I asked Chat GPT to give me an image. It gives me an image. I will not share it here, but I will send it to both of you, the image that it gave me. And we're not going to speak about it. I'll tell anyone who's listening, spoiler alert, if you want the image, you can contact Matt and Valerie and you can ask them if they have the guts to send you the image that ChatGPT made for me. But I was like, well, that would have launched me in a whole different career, and that's all I'm gonna say. We got a lot of work to go there.
You can maybe it was the prompt. I don't know, Jeannie. I don't know what prompt you gave it. So we have to garbage in, garbage out. Let's just say that. I'm sure. But yeah, look, is it anywhere near to the point of replacing so many of the thought critical processes that we do, or the creativity? No, but yeah, like I have a Gen Alpha kid. And he told me yesterday, he's like, Dad, I got to admit, ChatGPT wrote my homework for me last night. I was like, well, you better not hand that in. And I don't care if he did, but I don't know if he did actually today.
Yeah. Look, I mean, if it can help you learn, if it can be there for you when you need a friend. My daughter's in the army in Germany, and she has a little chat GPT best friend who talks to her when she gets lonely. I mean, like there's so many good uses for chat GPT,
Yes.
and and AI in general, and there's so many opportunities. It just needs to be put into the places where it makes sense, and we need to just realize in other places it doesn't make sense. Like think about hairdressers. I know this is something you think about all the time, Matt.
Yes, of course. You know
This
it.
is you can use AI to do a great job in teaching you how to do the best haircuts, and even start to create images and training for you, but you can't yet replace a hairdresser with an AI engine. Not yet. Maybe when Elon gets little robots to come out and Edward Scissorhands becomes an AI agent, it'll be different. But until then, we're good.
So
Yeah.
now we know one of the lightning round questions was going to be, what job is safe from AI? And the answer is hairdresser. So there you go. Okay. So this is a good transition to the lightning round, although our lightning rounds are never lightning rounds. We're in season 3 and we don't expect that to change. But as we transition to this, I want like snap judgment reactions. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our lightning round. My first question, and this is probably going to be my favorite. And Valerie, I want you to answer this too. What is your favorite aisle in a Rite Aid?
Oh, candy.
Candy. Oh, Val, what about you?
Lotions area, like
Okay.
like different. Yeah.
Mine is the travel items, because
Ooh.
obviously we travel, and I always I could spend hours in there, but it's not about me, it's about you. Now, best ice cream flavor to either settle an argument or sit on the couch and loathe with.
Mint and chip.
Yum.
Okay, they do go hand. I mean, they are perfect to me. I actually like chocolate peanut butter, but chocolate has to be good.
That's a good one.
Delicious.
What is the best and worst career advice you've gotten from someone, or multiple people?
Okay, like gut off the top of my head, I don't know. What's the best advice that I've gotten is, uh, the world. Don't ever be afraid to take a risk. No matter how old you are, no matter what you do, the world has you, and if it was meant to be. And I have all these great little like things all through my. This is, they say it in The Sound of Music. When God closes door, he opens a window. Like always, it will always happen to you. If something bad happens, it's because something so much better is just about to happen. I also have this one, which is,
I love that.
I could give up chocolate, but I'm not a quitter.
Thank you for reading that for
Very
our listeners.
sage
I appreciate that.
advice. Yes.
So,
very sage
listener,
advice.
Jeannie is holding up
No dry
inspirational
jam.
quotes and platitudes that she probably got at like a Home Goods.
Those were gifts to me. Wait, I have another one.
Okay.
But we'll stop those. Worst advice that I ever got was, suck it up and stick it out. Like, no, that's not why you're at work. That's not why you're at work.
Life's too short, but I'm glad that you have sucked it up and stuck it out with us for these last 30 35 minutes. But a couple more questions.
Honor. Go for it.
If you could like snap your fingers and solve a problem in marketing, right? Your superpower, just like that, what would it be? And I guess
Data.
why hasn't AI figured? Oh, I was gonna say, why hasn't AI figured it out? Maybe they are yet.
Data organization. I am such a huge data and analytics fan. I cannot tell you. But in every company, small, medium, large, doesn't matter. The data is always so disparate and all over the place. And to try and get it into an entity where you can turn on all the AI engines to do the predictive analytics and all of the behavioral stuff, it's never where you need it to be at the right time. And that would be what I would wish for.
Yes.
And this is the most important question we will ask you. So you have an incredible career. You've worked probably with incredible people. You've interviewed incredible people on your TV show. And now you've been a guest on the Snarketing Podcast. Where does that rank on the list of I've made it scale?
Number one. Number one, of course. This is my favorite thing in the world. I've never had exclusive news broken about my life before. So, I mean.
Did it.
Well,
you know what?
I will say that we are grateful for that, but I don't know that a podcast is the best vehicle for breaking news. But we're in marketing; we're going to learn.
It was your idea. I'm going to just keep pointing back to that. You said it like, this is not like a strategic plan I had in my head.
Well, no one's ever accused me of being a good marketer. So there we go.
Matt, maybe we could make our YouTube short have like a scrolling kind of CNN sort of like headline.
Breaking news. Well,
we need Jeannie's AI to teach us how to do that, guys. Come on. No, Jeannie, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, not only for breaking your news, but clearly we wish you all the best as you move into more of that, multifaceted role again and invest back into your show, which is incredible. But we're just grateful that you've made some time with us now. And I mean, God, breaking news. This is crazy. Val, maybe we should change careers.
I'm sorry for Rite Aid, but I'm so excited to see where you will go, Don't
be sorry for Rite Aid. They're in such a good spot. That marketing team there is incredible, and they're going to continue to do amazing things. I'm super excited for them. It's been an amazing time there, and I'm so excited about what's coming up next. I'm gonna leave it there. What's it called at the end of the season? Cliffhanger. This is your beginning of your season. Cliffhanger. We're gonna leave it at that. So you're gonna have to follow this podcast to find out what happens to me. How's that?
I love it. And where can people find your show? Just
wow. Well, see, you can find my show. Thank you for that, Valerie. You can watch LiftOff with Jeanniey Walden every Saturday at 5:30 on linear on the YTA network. You can also see it streaming on ROI TV, Draper TV, Tubi. You can find select interviews on Reach TV and all the airport TVs and all the hotels where Reach TV has their, different channels and episodes running. You can also see it on Business Success. You can see it on the Binge app, and you can see it on YouTube, or you can go to my mom's house. She'd love to meet you all and have you.
So the short answer is you can't miss it.
You can't miss it, and if you've missed it, why? But yeah.
Well, I'm glad we waited till the end of the episode to have you share all that, because I would have been super intimidated and starstruck. So thank you.
Well, that was a good start. We had breaking news and a full breath of fresh air. Note to self to binge watch all of Jeannie's shows. So here we go. Buckle up for a full season of snarky insights, wisdom, and fun. Until next time.